Hi and welcome. Today I'm going to be using my creative journal, which has moderately thick pages. So go and get a journal or a thick piece of paper and we can start something together. Here is an example of the kind of page we're going to do. It's going to be a spread, and it's going to be an introduction page, though if you've already done a spread at the beginning, you can do it midway through your book or wherever you feel is your journal. So here I've just done paint of all different kinds with some text over the top and a little introduction, and we're gonna mix the styles up a little bit and we're going to combine it with a story page, which is basically the same, just with some photos and magazine pictures on the top. So let's begin. For this introductory journal page, you will need some paints, some pens, any photos of something that makes you feel really happy or that represents a really joyful time, and any clippings from magazines that you really like or represent a part of you. And I'll show you along the way what I'm doing, but as always, this is your expression. We are all unique. And there's only one of you, there's only one of me. So let's just play. This is my paper with some gesso on top. Gesso is just a primer, and you can put it on paper, you can put it on canvas. I use an old, like one of those old credit cards that comes through the post. Just ripped it and use it. Gesso isn't advisable for very thin sheets, and sheets with paper underneath, such as here, you can see bubbles. There have been times where I haven't used any gesso and it's been fine. So, like always, it's up to you. To start my page, I'm going to select some colours. See, orange, skin colour, pink, that's my favourite pink. Don't really want to use yellow yet, white. It's always a good idea to have lots of white. And I'm going to just put them on my paper plate. Oh, I have two. Okay, so I've got my page here and some paints and my palette. If you are using a table that is used for something else, please put some newspaper down or some cardboard, anything that's going to protect your table. I'm just going to begin to squirt some paint into here. Okay, and then I'm going to use my fingers and the palms of my hands, and I'm just going to cover the page in paint. So it might be quite quick, and then I'll go slower. You can start this too. Let's journal. And then if you feel like you need to add another colour, you can. You can also just squirt them onto your page like this. And make a shape. Another cool thing about doing it this way is that you can turn your paper over and make a print. If you don't want to get the next page messy, just use your hands, use your arms even, or something hard. And then you've got a new shape which you can work on. Now, as you're painting, just think in colours. So don't be thinking, oh, what a mess I'm making. This is going nowhere. What am I doing with my hands? Instead, just let go and move the paint around. If you feel like, even just do some handprints. So I can be painting and then suddenly I might think, ah, light blue. So then I get out my blue and I add a bit of blue. Like so. I don't wash my hands in between because that way the paint from my hands merges with the other paint. And these colours are all mixed up anyway. This is not perfection, this is expression. My aim here is also to fill the entire page. Some pages, as you'll see as I go along in the course of the next year, I leave some pages with some white on them because I quite like that effect too. But today I've made up my mind to just use this, all the colours I want to. And the reason I've used a skin colour for this page actually is because I think it works quite well with the pinks and the orange and the yellow actually. But it's just in case I decide to do a figure. If I decide some of the colours look good together, I think, oh, that could be a face. And I'm just going to add some lime green, just a few little circles. However, be careful with the greens and the orange because you don't want to make brown necessarily, unless you feel like you do, make a brown. But I don't really want to go for that today. The great thing about adding white, I always have lots of supplies of white. It's the one paint I'm always topping up on because it's a very neutralising colour, and you can add white anyway you feel, and it won't mess up the colour scheme, not colour scheme, but it's not gonna make a muddy colour, it's just gonna lighten it up. Now, of course, if you're not a fan of using your hands, then I understand this video is not for you. And you can do the same sort of thing using a brush. It's all about colours and movement. Move, colour, move, colour. And Also, you might have some water nearby you. It's always handy because the paint can get quite dry on your hands. And I think I'm going to add a bit more blue. Let's revive some of this blue. And pretty soon all your paper will be covered in paint. I really like the orange on the other page. I can revive some of this orange here. I can just swoop it around. Okay, I think we're almost done. I'm just going to have a little go at the pink. And I'm going to do my favourite little finger painting activity. This is a truly, truly messy page because I get to wrap my hands in the paint. And down we go as a print. Not all of them have come out very well. Let's try again. Well, I think that's the best it's going to go. And then we're going to wait for that to dry and do some text on top with some pictures as our introductory page. As my paint has now dried on my pages, I've just been scanning some magazines for images that pop out to me. Previous pages I've chosen things like dresses, jewellery, words that pop out like art, passion, love, that kind of thing. This time I'm just going to make it very simple, and I've just chosen creativity and a bird. And it just so happens that I've ripped out creativity because I can't find my scissors, and I've ripped it out and it looks like a cloud, which I kind of like. And just a White House representing place, creative place. So I'm going to stick those down, and then I'm going to add some words. So right now I'm just going to grab a pastel and I'm going to write some things that this journal represents. So for me it's going to be no rules, no limit, my intuition, imagination, any kinds of words that represent your space. Red. So I've written no rules, no limits, my intuition, imagination, play. Inside my handprint, I'm going to write a sentence that I wrote in my very first journal that really helped back then. And I'm going to write, do not wonder, do not question, do not judge, for this is just me. And you can word it differently. You can word it as, this is just my expression, or this is just me in the moment. But at the time, that was a very bold saying. It was saying, this is just me. Even if I come back and I view this journal in a few years' time, it's just my expression in the moment. It's just me. It doesn't need to be questioned, why have I done this? Why have I done that? It just is. It's just me being in the moment. So with my marker, I've just done 2 quotes either side of my page, and the first one is something I wrote in my very first journal, which I still love now, and it is, be who you are and say how you feel, because those who mind don't matter and those who matter don't mind. That's from Dr. Seuss, and I love it, so true. The other, on the other side, is something I heard last night on the film The Imitation Game. Great movie. Sometimes it is the people that no one imagines anything of who do the things no one can imagine. Love that quote. I've written it twice already today, and I'm sure there's loads of good quotes from that movie. So just to finish, I'm going to use my pastels again. You can use anything else like coloured pencils if they will go over the top of your paint, or crayons, just to finish off. Okay, so as the light is fading and we are finished our pages, I'll quickly show you mine. Feel free, if you have done one yourself, just to add a comment at the bottom of this post and tell me about yours. I'd love to see it or hear about it. So let's just recap over what I've done here. So basically I've just smudged paint across the page, moved it around, waited for it to dry, added a few magazine images. I then basically graffitied over my work. So with pastels I wrote things like no rules, no limits, and then at the end across it I wrote, when in love with life, enjoy every moment. And then I wrote my standard, do not wonder, do not question, do not judge what you see, these pages are just me. Because if I flick back, it's a good, and I get a bit critical, or I start analysing or anything like that, I can just remember I'm not here to question, I'm just here to express. And the quotes that I love here from Dr. Seuss and The Imitation Game, you can choose any kinds of quote that you can refer back to, and it'll make you smile, make you realise why you started journaling. So those are my front pages, and you can express yourself in this way and in many other ways. Use this as an inspiration or a guide and have fun. Brave creators, create freely, move forward.